So since we are discussing about the client administration, which means creation of the client, then what is required for the client. So those things we are discussing. So one more thing is here, one important thing is here, while creating the client or while creating the logical system, you should not use the SAP star or DDIC. Okay, SAP restricted to use the SAP star DDIC users. Why? Because it's a deep super users and default users. So if you try to use this SAP DDIC users, so it's not allowed. It's not allowed to create the logical systems or some customer changes. The mainly for the customer changes are not allowed to create the, so this customer changes are not allowed to create using the DDIC or SAP customer changes. So with DDIC and SAP star, we cannot do the any changes in the customer changes, especially customer changes, parameter changes, or all those things we can do it. Some kind of some changes it's not allowed. Few specific changes are not allowed. So in that case, you have to mandatory. You have to use the so basis user. You have to mandatory use the any other user. You have to use it other than so SAP star DDIC. Other than SAP star DDIC, you can use the any other users here. Seems someone used the wrong password, so user got locked here. So I just unlocked the password. So you can use the basis user, right? Now you are able to log in here. Now you are able to log into the transaction codes and everything here. So that is the one thing here. So here, client creation, right? To create the client, the logical systems are required. Logical systems are required here. With that logical system, so we by creating the logical system, we can create the client. So client creation has to done by using the transaction code SCC4 transaction code. Using this transaction code, we can create the client. So client is the business entity. Without client, even you cannot log into the SAP system also. Even you cannot log into the SAP system also. So client is required here. So any system, either S/4HANA system or any system, client is required here. With this client only, we can able to log into the our SAP systems. We can able to log into the SAP systems here with this client. Okay. So client is required. Client is the business entity. Within the client, we can store the all your business data and everything here. So you have multiple clients, the data specific to the specific client only. You have developed the data in the 100 client. So then you have also created the 200 client means. So the data exists in the only 100 client, not the 200 client. It's specific to the client dependent, or some data are the client independent, cross client. Okay. So that is the client creation. So sir, we created the client. So that is fine. Only client creation is done, but users and all everything is there in the users and all are there in the here. Users and all are there in the so 400 clients, the 001 client. Then how to log into the newly created client? Sir, we don't know how to log into the newly created client. So then what is the user ID and password? Why? Because you created only client, not the users. Users. So then how to get all those things here, right? Then we need to enable the emergency user. Emergency user, we have to enable it here. Emergency user, we have to activate it. We have to activate it here. So by activating the emergency user, we discussed about the one subtopic called the profiles and the parameters concept. Profiles and parameters concept here. In this profiles and parameter concept, we discussed we have the types of profiles are two. Total 3 profiles are there. One is the default profile, SAP application server profile, and ASCS profile here. Those two are called the instance profile, instances. right? We have the two instances, then two instance profiles are there. If you have the multiple application server, each application server, there is a dedicated profile. This profile contains parameters. These parameters are system settings. So if you want to control your system settings, suppose if you want to control your system mobile settings and everything, you have the settings tab, right? Same as like here, we have the profiles and parameters concept in the SAP. There you can go to the RG10 and the RG11. So there we can do the some specific changes. We can perform it in the systems, right? Here RG10 and RG11 here. System settings. We can do the changes here. We can perform the changes of the SAP systems here, right? We can perform the changes of the SAP systems here. So what type of settings? Either buffer changes, space, values. So like anything, any parameter value, increase in the work process, decrease in the work process, anything we can do that one. But we cannot blindly go ahead and do the changes here. So we have to check the impact by increasing that one. What is the impact in the current system? That we have to analyze it. So suppose if you want to enable the if you want to enable the parameter of the work process increase. If you want to increase the work process parameter, we cannot blindly go ahead and increase it. We need to check the whether currently having system having any memory issues or anything. Why? Because each work process will occupy the some amount of memory. You are increasing the work process means that it should be occupy the memory. So you should have the enough memory. If you don't have the memory, then what is the use of the increasing the so work process, right? We cannot blindly increase it. Why? Because it's a memory. It will occupy the memory. So that's why each work process will occupy the certain amount of memory here. So same as like to activate the emergency user, there is a parameter we have to change it. Same as like that one. So login slash no underscore automatic underscore user start parameter, we have to change it. We need to do the restart of the system. Then the value will be affected. Then we can log into the newly created client with SAP star with pass user. SAP star with pass user, we can log in. Right? So whatever the client you created or which client you want to log in, then you can log into the all the clients with SAP star with pass user, SAP star with pass user here, SAP star with PASS is the pass is the password. You can log in here, right? You are logged into the system here. So this parameters. So RG10, RG11, we can see the parameters here, right? RG10, RG11, we can see the profiles and parameters here. Inside of the profile, so we have the parameters are there. Inside of the profile, we have the parameters are there. These parameters will control the entire system. These parameters will control the systems here. So here the parameters concept is there here. Okay, so which control the system behavior, system responses, and all those things, these parameters here. Okay, so that is the one thing here, parameters concept. So in the client administration, client creation, logical system creation, assigning the logical system to the client, then profiles and parameters we completed. So now, so then, sir, okay, fine. But as of now, I don't know because data is the client specific data. So data is the client specific data. This is your system. In the system, you have the already 000, already the 001 clients are there. Now you created the new client 400 client you created. So, but my data is already in this clients here. So this is the 000 client. This is the so 001 client, but my data already in the so but I don't have any data here. Then if I want to log into the 400 client, if I want to develop anything here, so then it will take 1 more month. Why? Because last 1 month I spent time on the creation of the data and everything in this client. So then in that case, do I need to do again starting from in this client as well? No, not required. Why? Because SAP, after the client creation, they have introduced the client copies concept. Client copies concept here. So client copies concept, SAP introduced it here, client copies. So client copies means copying the client data from one client to another client. So which means So you have the data is there here. So you can copy the data from here to here. You can copy the data here. That is called the client copy here. Suppose I have one mobile phone. You have also one mobile phone. In my mobile phone, I have one movie. I want to transfer to you. Then what I can do? I can transfer it. Or within within the system only, I have in the documents folder, I have one document. I want to move to the home folder. Then I can copy and paste it. Right? I can drag and drop. Right? These options are there. Then this is option. This is also I can use it here. Copy paste option. Right? So which means what's happening here? So you are copying the data. You are copying the data from one client to another client. Is it possible? Yes, this is possible. Copying the data from one client to another client is possible. That's called the client copies. So we have the three types of client copies are there in the SAP here. There are the three types of client copies are there here. One is the local client copy. The second one is the remote client copy, local client copy and remote client copy, and the client export and import. Then client, so that export and import methods here. So let's start discussing about the local client copy. Okay, local client copy. Local client copy means locally copying the data, means within the system between two clients, the copying the data from one client to another client, right? That is called the local client copy. So local client copy means the transaction code which we have to use by SCCL. L means local client copy, right? So here local client copy means from which client you have to copy the data. You need to log into the newly created client. Example, log into the newly created client, then execute SCCL transaction code, then select the source client from which client you have the data. So then then select the profile. So they are the client copy profiles are there here. Means which data you want to copy, all the data. So like customization data or only users data or development data, what data you want to copy. Right? So then you need to select the profile here. You need to select the client copy profiles. Profile you have to select it. Then run in background mode. We can run it so that the data will be executed. Then check the logs in SCC3 transaction code. This is called the local client copy procedure. This is the local client copy procedure which we have to do that one here. So in this case, what we have to do, we need to log into the newly created client. So which client you created? Suppose like 400 client, right? Then execute the SCCL transaction code. Then select the profile, which profile you want to data, which means we have the different types of profiles are there for the client copy. So SAP underscore all, which means all the data, all the SAP data, if you want to transfer all the data. So some customers, they don't have all the data. They need only transfer the customization data. Some customers only customization, some customers only application data, some customers only users data, some customers only profiles data, some customers only. So they have the requirements are different requirements. So some customers, they want to transfer the entire client data, which means they want to transfer. So entire this client, whatever the data is there, I want same data should be available here. Then they can use the SAP underscore all. No, they don't want to develop all the data. They want only users data. I want only users wants to move to the some. So which client? From 001 client to then 400 client here. Then select the from which client, source client, then target client. So then we can also schedule as a background job. So job will be scheduled. Or we want to run immediately, that will run in the foreground dialog mode. When running in the dialog mode, your system will be freezed, right? Why? Because it is running in the dialog mode. You cannot navigate to the other screens here. But here, if you run it in the dialog, in the background mode, job will be scheduled here, right? Background job is scheduled here. Then while that is running, you can work on the other activities and everything here. Then job means it's an SM37. There is a one job is running status here. Client copy 0012 client SCP underscore user profile is active here. Right. So client copy logs, you can check in the SCC3. SCC3, we can check the logs here. Right. So how the client copy is running. Right. Total how many tables? 103 tables. So for this profile, like how many tables are copied, 83 tables are copied, current which tables are copied, like at what time it is started. So all the information, I think 103 tables are copied here, right? So copied lines, how much time it's taken, 1 minute maximum, right? It's completed. How much time? 1 minute. So all within 1 minute. So we have the client copy, which means whatever the data is there in the 001, all the users data, it moved to the 400 client here. So now if you see and verify the data users rate, we can check in the SC01 transaction code here. We go ahead and search it out here. See here, total 66 entries, 66 users got created in the 400 client. In the 400 client, we have the 66 users got created in the 400 client here. 66 users got created here. You can see 400 client, we have the 66 users, right? So suppose example, which client is this? 001. Okay, let me see how many users are here. So 66 users. The 001 client, the 001 client users, we have the 66 users. We have copied to the 400 client users we copied. Means how many users are there? All the users we got it in the so 001 client as well. So which means you can also log in. Now users copied, the passwords also copied from here. Now you can log into the 400 client with the basis user we have, right? Whatever the users we have, we can log in with the 400 client. All the users and the roles got copied here. Sir, 66 users within 1 minute, how it got? If we want to create the manually, it will take a lot of time, right? Then how it got created? So we have, that is the reason we have the so this concept here, that is the reason we have the concept is called the so that is the reason we have the concept is called the client copies, which means we can copy the from one client data to another client, or vice versa also we can copy it here. The only thing is our client copies are the pull mechanisms. Client copies are the pull mechanisms, which means you need to log into the newly created client, which client you need the data, means target client. So you have the data here. You want to log into the 400 client means you need to log into the 400 client. You can pull the data of here, right? So that when background job is scheduled, that job one background job is scheduled here, that job will completed the client copies and everything here. See here, client copy, it got completed here, right? It got completed the client copy and everything here. From 001 to 400 client, it got created here, right? So that is got created. It is got created here, right? That is the client creations, sorry, client copies. Copying the client data from one client to another client is called the client copy. Source is any client, target is any client. That's not a method. So you can copy the data. But normally our guys will do the mistake like, so they will log into the 001 client. There is an empty client, 400 client. From empty client data, they will copy to the 001 client. So that here, empty client, we don't have any data. So all the data will comes to the 001 client. No data, here also no data. So all the users will be deleted in the 001 client as well. That is what our guys will do. So we want to do the client copies here. What you have to do, you need to log into the your newly created client, whatever the client you want, except 001. Or because 001 is logging by the every user. So if you do the client copy, target is the 001, double target is the 001. What will happen? All the data will get wiped off. Means all the data will be deleted. So now you or some other your colleagues, you are able to log into the NW1. So you cannot log in. Why? Because this data will be deleted. So you cannot log in even as well. Right? So that is the reason. So while doing the client copies here, don't select target client as a 001. Okay. Don't collect target. So see here, someone selected as a 652 client, right? 000. This is a so this is not the good practice here which you are doing here. So it should not be target client, should be in the different client. Different client means so any other client except 000 or 001 client you can use it. If you use the target client is the 001 client, you are using the empty client, you are transferring the data means all the data will be gone, right? So that is not the good practice here, right? We can check it out in the SCC3. We can check it out who did what and at what time they have done it. So you can see clearly, we can see it here, right? But only username we cannot identify, but we can identify it username also. I have enabled the auditing. So whoever doing this one, it will be tracked and your account will be locked. Why? Because if you do this account, this one, so target should not be a 000 or 001. We can choose anything here. Okay, while doing the practice. If you do this one, what will happen? Entire data will be deleted from the 001. So even you cannot log into the entire system also. So that happens. That happened previously. So that's what I'm telling to everybody or requesting to everyone. So don't select target client as a 001 or 000 client. You can choose anything, but don't select this one. Then in this case, you need to log into the newly created client. Newly created client, you have to log in. So newly created client, you have to log in. Suppose like 400 client or 401, then log in. So then you can, if you want to use the basis user, check basis user is not allowed, but because data is not there. Then you can use the SAP star. Then PASS pass, you are able to log in. Then SCCL is the local client copy. Then select the profile, which profile you want to transfer. Then select the profile. Then source client, which client data you required. So source you can select anything, but target is the 401. Then you can also run as a immediately. So if you run it immediately, what will happen? The impact is here. Your system will be freezed. You can see system is freezed now. Your screen got freezed now. So this is not the recommended approach. This is not the best practice which you are following. So we have to run as a background job. So that we have to run as a background job. So that what will happen in the background without any user intervention, the job will be executed. Your data will be copied here. So that is what will happen in the systems here. Right? So that's what you have to do it in the systems. See here. So it's completed, successfully completed in the how many tables? 103 tables, runtime 36 milliseconds, 36 seconds it completed here. So now if we go ahead and check in the systems, so here we have the 66. So 66 users got copied to the here as well here. So data got copied. So this is called the local client copy. Using the SCC3 transaction code, we can copy the data. SCC3 transaction code, you can check the logs, client copy logs, we can check it out. So client copy logs, we can check it out in the systems here, right? Client copy logs, we can perform using the SCC3. So we can check it out whether all the data completed, successfully completed or not. So all the information we can check it out here, whether it's failed or not, which table. So all the information we can check it out here in the SCC3. That is called the client copy logs here. That is called the local client copy. Okay, local client copy. So the next one is called the remote client copy. Okay, remote client copy means there is a one more topic we need to discuss, that is called the RFC administration part. Okay, so shall I explain? Will you guys practice the local client copy? Why? Because there's a some of the dependency topics will come. That's why I'm
We'll practice, sir. Because
We'll practice, sir.
so
oh.
then we'll understand better, sir.
Yeah. Okay, then not a problem. So you can practice it. So no rush. So no need to hurry. So just we'll go slowly these topics.